paid those people in cryptocurrency. So you always want to be like one of the last presenters when there's a long, exciting day of presentations, and then you want to give a technical discussion about your platform. That's like exactly what you want to be doing. But I've never been one for counting the odds, so here goes. So that was heavy stuff, right? You know, like the legal stuff, and like there's like this dark cloud that hangs over this whole thing, and that's even assuming that we make the technology work, right? Who knows if that happens? But I'm actually here to give you some much, much worse news. Worse than the SEC, worse than FinCEN, worse than even running out of chicken tikka masala, okay? And it is as follows. If you don't get awesome humans or humans that fog a mirror into your applications, none of this matters. It doesn't matter if you created a security. It doesn't matter if you created a commodity or a currency or any of this stuff. How do we get humans using these applications that are so hard to even explain to the average person? That is the problem that we're solving. So I am Ariel Jalali, co-founder of Sensay. We are the makers of Sense. And today I wanted to tell you a little bit about this platform that we're building called Sense Core. It's not a pitch. We've done our token sale. We're actually, prior to that, a venture-backed company with some of the top investors out there, Greycroft, Norwest, Tim Draper, et cetera. We had a successful, can't say that word, token sale. And now we're kind of beyond that. We're like, okay, now what have we built? What have we done? So here I am, and let's do this thing. So the current problem that we have is, regardless of if you're Facebook or a centralized application, those applications still exist. We can't pretend they're not out there. Or if you're building the next beautiful dApp, right? You're gonna need humans inside your application. You're gonna need users. The trouble is today, all these users are kind of locked inside these applications, and they're not really, though it's the same human being, running different personas on their physical hardware, the way that you run virtual machines on your server. The fact that there's a company selling insurance out there that's going to spend money for user acquisition to get humans. There's this company out there that we're partner with that does great freelance marketplaces. There are actually two of those companies. Everyone's trying to get these users. Where are they going to get them from? Like, they're all stuck in these applications. None of them talk to each other. There's no incentive to move them around. And even worse, what we've learned in the last month, the model from the centralized world of offering free services to users and sort of using their time, attention, data for benefit, that model is kind of waning as well. So what do? We got to get all the people moving around to discover these incredible services that are being built, powered by blockchain. So we move from humanity in the machine to humanistic software that's more human, designed around people, their needs, their knowledge, their desires, and their intents. So a Sense integrated app does a few things that a non-Sense integrated app does. It actually moves. It has an incentive to migrate users between app communities. It has an incentive for users to refer each other even in the same app community. And it has the incentive of apps to refer each other, or bots, or insert your favorite term for software here. Why is that important? One of the incredible things that nobody talks about in terms of blockchain is it creates this level playing field where it's just a ledger. Now, if I do a favor for my friend, I'm not going to want to record it on a ledger somewhere. We've just had that system of trust going for years now. But when it comes to humans and software, or even better, software and software, they're going to want to keep track of these things. So we have the perfect tool for that to happen and to incentivize these sort of migration patterns of humans between software. Because after all, if we don't get people using something, then what are we doing? So Wanted to tell you a little bit about the core platform at Sense. So Sense enables software to think and communicate like humans while rewarding the humans who use it. And so we'll get into this, but there are two different kinds of humans, not just the users, but also the developers of software. We create a chained, aligned incentive structure to get users using the best stuff and moving them around this fluid ecosystem. And in terms of the architecture, there's kind of like a taxonomy. So we talk about clusters, which is like the top level. There happen to be 2 clusters in Sense Core. There's a module, and each module does a specific thing. And it's sort of like, it's homage to our first application on the Sense network, which is Sensay. If some of you have heard about it, that's how we started. We're a 3-year-old company. We got up to 3 million users that had earned over 23 coins in a closed-loop system. So each module takes something really great in terms of our learnings when we were building Sensay and opens it up in a decentralized way so that we can all win together. One of the great things that we did during our token sale, and this was my co-founder Crystal's idea, is that we opened up our pre-sale exclusively to developers. So our team of, at the time, 10 people very quickly became over 1,200 developers signed up in our pre-sale. And so, you know, that's the power of community. So we've taken all the things there, turned them into these modules that are more open, more accessible, and then there are features inside the module that sort of like do various things. So let's get into it. The core modules, there's 6 of them. We start off with attribute, which is the attribution of knowledge. So, you know, prove that you know something, right? And then you need to access, which is directly below, access that person via their knowledge or their data. And the third one that we're building out is actually contact. This is the ability to contact any user, message them via their wallet ID. I'll give you a sneak preview of that. It's pretty exciting. And then there's some others that sort of like fill in the blanks. There's belong for tribal, you know, collective bounties. There's route to help humans and software to refer leads and opportunities to each other. And then there's clarify, which is like the ability to write software that clarifies an intent. So let's get into it. So we've got attribute. That was our first smart contract to record a human owner of knowledge. There was access, which is basically the ability to search and retrieve humans or their data. There's contact, the ability to contact humans via their wallets. There's route, the ability for humans to refer each other via their data, their assets, or their agents. There's clarify, which is our ability to codify human decision-making into an agent form. So whether that's a chat agent or a software agent of some kind. And there's belong, which is to group humans by their data. So attribute, it basically, it ascribes value to raw data and turning it into usable knowledge, because there's a lot of debate out there, like what's in my Facebook data? Actually, let's do a quick survey. How many people think that Facebook owns their data? Just raise your hand. Like if you use Facebook, how many people think Facebook owns that data? Okay, I'd say about 60, 65, 70%. How many think that you, as the user, own your data? Okay, it's like 20%. And I assume the rest of you aren't sure, right? Don't know. So it turns out 100%, if you use Facebook or Twitter or Google or any service out there, according to the terms of service, you are the publisher of record. You own that data. And there's a lot of question about, hey, what do we do with that data? Like, is the fact that I liked a cheeseburger last Tuesday useful? Well, it might be in a certain context. So there's really a trick into turning this raw data into usable knowledge so that apps can actually contextually access users at the right time of intent. So we've put an incentive around that for our developer community to do that. It's data owners are attributed, as well as the app developers who helped attribute that data for that user. So that creates a shared incentive. And we have some semantic tags around things that I know, things that I've done, things that I have, aka own, or things that I want. Then we have access, which is basically the ability to search for a user by their data. You pay to access a user or their data via smart contract. Rewards are attributed to the user and the app developer. Contact maps a wallet with a method of delivery. This is pretty exciting. And obscures each participant's PII in the contact relay. So we kind of get the best of both worlds. You can choose to be a named entity, or you can choose to just have a conversation for the purposes of whatever you're trying to do. And these modules in SenseCore interact with each other if you want to daisy chain them together, because they're all functionally intact. So it interfaces with access and the other smart contracts. There's route. So this is a set of NLP tools. We learned a lot about natural language processing through building Sensay, which is essentially a messenger bot platform that was kind of existed in Facebook Messenger, Telegram, SMS, WeChat, Line, Slack, all these other services. So it was kind of, I guess, the world's first invisible network. So we learned a lot about parsing a user's intent and statements to try to route them to the right people or resources. And you can do targeted search or broad-based discovery with that, and it interacts with the other ones as well. There's Clarify, that basically extends human knowledge without a live human. Why is this important? So when we talk about the value of a person's work and a person's time, my co-founder Crystal will be talking about this tomorrow, the finding your purpose in life and moving you away from busy work. But we feel that we have a moral imperative to get people away from trading their time for money to more aspirational things that they want to learn, things that they want to accomplish in their life, experiences that they'd like to have, and a certain experience of life. So how do you do that? So we have to figure out ways to incentivize extending the human beyond being, sort of available all the time on call. So you think of it as maybe you could create a little me-bot of yourself that does a few things out there and gets you opportunities. We believe firmly that the world is moving from people in business to people as business. Every one of us is going to be an entrepreneur represented by a wallet that contains certain personas, that has certain skills and abilities. So we're kind of leaning into this, and that's what the Clarify module does. And Belong basically looks at a series of wallets. So for example, everyone in this room could be the Block to the Future tribe, and we could have some tribal bounties so we could win together. Somebody wants to know something about, the Hornet, or something that we did here, that we could all participate in that together. And it also daisy chains with the other smart contracts. The core clusters, so there are 2 core clusters. And the reason for this is that Sense creates a decentralized marketplace for knowledge. And in a marketplace, there are really 2 key factors. There's liquidity and there's velocity. And the first cluster, if you look at it, the ability to contact or attribute someone's knowledge or belong really lead to better liquidity, a better collection of supply and demand, so that you have a lot of activity in that marketplace. So it's basically liquidity oriented. Builds a robust supply, builds up demand specifically to meet that supply, and it ensures an equal thickness of both sides. This is about more. A lot of times, our team, I like to say, we're doing a constant dance between more and better. And in a company, you always have to do that. You do more, then you make it better. Switch back and forth. And then the second one is for velocity. So it actually increases the transaction velocity, shortening the gap between request and fulfillment. So those are the clusters, and we're making alternate quarterly upgrades to each cluster in the core. Then there's some features. I'll kind of run through these very quickly. There's all different types of attribution. Then there's some use cases that I'll skip through. There's access. You can access users, their chats, their conversational history, or assets. Assets could be digital assets. So for example, somebody wants to do an itinerary for a perfect day in Oakland. That could be an asset that could be accessible. That's an extension of a human and their knowledge. Then we have contact. This is pretty exciting. I'll get to it in a second. Belong. Route. So basically, we can have software route to humans, bots, tribes. They all kind of work together. And there's clarify as well to help you decide things, predict things, cluster things. I want to get to a really exciting thing. So this is something we've been hatching. It's a sneak preview for our contact module. And what this does is you find a wallet in the wild, right? Here's our wonderful head of UX, Grover Light. We have an inside joke in our team that whenever we see crypto experiences, they're made by his evil twin brother, Grover Dark. But he's gone ahead and put his wallet in the wild. So you find it, you say, hey, right now we've got it working via Chrome extension, but we're going to extend this functionality mobile as well. He's a sense maker. I can actually pay to message him. So I compose my message, and oh my God, you're the best designer ever, Grover. And you send it for some sense. Whoosh, your message has been sent, and ka-ching, this shows up in his Telegram. So he's actually earned sense or an opportunity, really sort of bolstering this idea that we are entrepreneurs and we are businesses and wallets and everything in one person. So that's it. Thank you for your time and attention, and thanks for helping us make sense.